Once again from sunny Kissimmee, Florida, it's time for Braves baseball. Our second spring training telecast here at Walt Disney World features the Braves and the Detroit Tigers. Opening day just a few short days away. The Braves and Tigers tune up on a beautiful afternoon of baseball. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe, welcome back to our Braves spring training coverage. And an interesting storyline for the Atlanta Ball Club. You know, the Braves are looking for a fifth starter because Luis Gohara is hurt. A week ago, they picked up Anibal Sanchez, a former Tiger. And, Joe, he looks to impress in a start today.
Well, we're going to get a look at him just like the Braves staff and executives are going to look at Anibal Sanchez because he's trying to pitch for a spot on this roster, and he doesn't have much time to do it. Everybody knows that he knows how to pitch. 34 years old, 12 years in the big leagues with the Marlins and with these Tigers, and 90 big league wins under his belt. Well, the Braves certainly know about him. He set a Tiger team record with 17 strikeouts about 3 years ago on a cold night in Detroit. So they know he's got good stuff. It's just a matter of him showing it and being able to start the season healthy.
And you figure he's amped up to face his former club, the Detroit Tigers. All signs point to a beautiful day for baseball. Lineups and first pitch, Braves and Tigers from Champion Stadium in Orlando, coming your way next.
Liberty Mutual.
Landmark Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram.
Picture-perfect Chamber of Commerce type day here in Kissimmee, Florida. 64 degrees, slight breeze blowing out toward left center field here at Champion Stadium. Chip and Joe with you for our second spring telecast. Here's a look at the Atlanta defensive lineup. Might see this one on opening day. Preston Tucker in left. He's done an excellent job for Atlanta. Ender Inciarte in center. Nick Markakis, of course, is the Braves right fielder. Around the horn, Freddie Freeman at first, Ozzie Albies, Dansby Swanson, Rio Ruiz at third with Johan Camargo banged up. Kurt Suzuki's behind the plate, and we'll get our first look at Anibal Sanchez, Joe, in Braves colors, but as you said, not our first look at this longtime veteran right-hander.
No, and you've probably heard this before as you see Ron Gardenhire and his staff for the Tigers once more here in Kissimmee. There's his lineup, one similar to the one we saw a couple of days ago. Leonis Martin Alexis Amarista, Victor Martinez, the veteran, McCann, Goodrum, Hicks, Jones, Reyes, and Pinheiro rounded out. For Anibal Sanchez, you tell me where you've heard this before. He's a veteran and he knows how to pitch. Does he have the fastball he used to have? No. He's going to top out about 88, 89, maybe 90 today. But he knows how to move the ball around. It's a matter of him staying out of the middle of the strike zone. He has an excellent changeup that has some good tailing action to it, good slider. Once in a while he'll throw a curveball, but it's all about location for him if he's going to be successful and have a chance to make this team.
He's going to have to deal with Victor Martinez in the middle of this Tigers Toyota starting lineup, but he doesn't have to deal with Miguel Cabrera, so that's obviously an advantage for him. And he should know these guys pretty well, which should also help him fare well, you'd think.
Yeah, he had a contract with the Tigers that had an option for this season, and the Tigers declined it. The Twins signed him, and it was a non-guaranteed contract. And then when the Twins signed Lance Lynn, they had to find a place for him on the roster, and they released Sanchez, and that's why the Braves were able to sign him and check him out as a prospect for the 5th starter role.
So we'll see how it goes for Anibal today. We'll also see how it goes for Leonis Martin, who's leading off playing center for the Tigers. And pitch number 1 right there for a called strike. Saw Martin play here a couple of nights ago, and he doubled and scored a first inning run for Detroit. He smokes one right up the middle where Dansby Swanson awaits. And as we said 2 nights ago, what used to be a hit now with all the advanced defensive metrics, Dansby right place, right time for an easy out. 1 away.
That will be a key for Anibal to get a lot of ground balls today. He's not going to strike out a ton of guys you wouldn't expect. But if he can get the Tigers to put the ball in play and hit it at people, it'll be a very successful day.
Alexi Amarista is the hitter, and Sanchez gets ahead with a strike. Mark Wegner, by the way, has the plate this afternoon. Jerry Lane, Laz Diaz, and Manny Gonzalez will rotate around the bases for the Braves and Tigers. Sanchez with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball ahead 0-2.
Anibal pitched last, I think it was Sunday, and against Houston, who had all of their big boys in the lineup, and he did a real nice job. 4 innings, he gave up 6 hits and 2 runs. But Brian Snitker said it could have been even better than that, were it not for a couple of misplays behind him. But he was very impressed with what he saw. And you pointed out a couple of days ago, the Braves really aren't going to need a 5th starter until really the 2nd week of the season.
Right. First, the 0-2 pitch for Alexi Amarista. And he just missed the corner. Pretty good pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Talk with Brian Snitker about Luis Gohara, who everyone had penciled in as one of the Braves starters coming into spring training. This one slapped toward left as Tucker retreats, and Preston's got plenty of room. There's the second out. Brian said before the game that Gohara is working off the mound now. He is making pitches, but he has yet to do the pitcher's fielding practice where you plant and throw and test out the ankle. And until he does that, the Braves are going to obviously proceed very cautiously with him. And quite frankly, Joe, as much time as he's missed, Gohara is going to pretty much have to have spring training all over again to get his arm strength and then stretched out again.
Well, it's not about just getting in shape. It's dropping a few pounds, too. That they feel like that's what led to a couple of the injuries here in the spring.
Pop fly out of play. So with Gohara's sideline, that's why the Braves are going to look at Scott Kazmir, at Anibal Sanchez, and perhaps others to see who pitches best for that 5th assignment that they'll need a couple of weeks into the season. That's rifled out of play, foul by Victor Martinez, and the count's still 0-2. Sanchez throwing a lot of strikes. That's also encouraging.
2 old friends going at it here, and it's amazing how at his age Victor Martinez still has such a quick bat. An amazing career, over 2,000 hits, and started off as a catcher.
And 39 years young. Ought to be 39 again, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got a lot of amens here in the booth on that one.
Yes, we did. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Shift on for Martinez. 3 Braves defenders right side of the infield. He smokes one the other way. That's how you get 2,000 hits. He beats the shift, dumps it in the left, and Victor Martinez aboard with a 2-out knock. So Anibal will go to the stretch for the first time. He'll face James McCann, the Tiger catcher. As you said, these two ought to know each other pretty well. McCann caught a lot of Sanchez's starts last year. He started 17 games with the Tigers, won 3, lost 7 last season. And him off stride, a little pop. Who wants this? It'll be Ender Inciarte in front of Nick Markakis. A 2-out single is left stranded for the Tigers. No score. The Braves coming up. In the first inning, now Atlanta takes a look at left-hander Daniel Norris, an interesting character and a guy that Detroit club's really counting on for a rebound year this year.
Yeah, and a healthy one. We talk about players in spring training so often that are key components to any ball club, and he's one for the Tigers that they want him to be out there for a full season, 32 to 35 starts, be healthy, because he's got great stuff. And there's the Braves lineup. What might be the opening night lineup against the Phillies.
Presented, of course, by Toyota, and a quick strike for Ender Inciarte. I think it's safe to say everybody is looking forward to leaving camp. The proverbial light at the end of the tunnel is here, with, as you said, opening day mere days away, and a base hit for Ender against a left-hander Norris. That's one of the many great things about Ender Inciarte. Lefty-righty, doesn't matter, and he hung in well, and he singles to start the game.
He's had a good spring. He's hitting .273 coming into this at bat. Improves on that. Stays in there, doesn't flinch, no stride. And that's how you also, like Victor Martinez, in Ender's case, you pick up 201 hits in one season.
So Norris immediately to the stretch. Ozzie Albies the batter. Ozzie's hit safely in 4 of his last 5 games. Has a couple of homers. Both of those came in the same game. One lefty, one righty.
Kevin Seitzer said something today to me about Ozzie that I didn't take into consideration. And I was talking about what good hands he has in his swing. And I said, and he's also solid, he's strong. And he said, Joe, I think he might be pound for pound the strongest player in the major leagues.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I said. And he goes, absolutely.
No balls, 1 strike. Well, Braves media guide says Ozzie Albies is 5'8", 165. That sound about right?
I think that's light. I think he's more in the 180 to 185 range.
Well, he had a terrific 57-game run for the Braves last year, batting .286, 6 homers, scored 34 runs in those 57 games, made just 3 errors in those 57 games for the Braves.
And remember, too, he hasn't played second base all his life. He was moved to second base from shortstop to make room for Swanson. And he's made that move look seamless. He's played real well there.
Ender's got a pretty good lead at first, but nobody out. Braves have been a running club this spring, and Norris missed up and away, ball 2. Bell ties strike, evens the count.
Good change up there.
Well, Norris has the pitches. He has the pedigree. He was originally in the Toronto Blue Jays system. And he's a player that current Braves general manager Alex Anthopoulos knows very well. As you know, Alex has historically never been afraid to pull the trigger and acquire a big name. When the Toronto Blue Jays went out and acquired David Price, well, Norris was one of the players that was sent to Detroit in return. Full count. Ender's running. And the pitch popped up. Shallow right. And Reyes is there. He's got it. And Albies pops out for the first out.
And it's the kind of move you can make when you're on the cusp of getting into the postseason, or feel like not just getting into the postseason, but have a chance to go all the way and win it. You have to be willing to give up a prospect like Norris for a player like David Price at the time. And Alex certainly not shy about it.
Here's Freddie. Runner at first, 1 out for the Braves first baseman. That one down and in, almost hit him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Can't think of a Brave that is more excited and ready to get going than Freddie Freeman, who, despite being limited to 117 games because of the broken wrist, hit 28 homers last season for Atlanta.
He's one of the guys ready to go to Atlanta. You know, you've heard of Hell Week in the military for the Marines. Well, that's kind of what the players are talking about right now with getting these last few games over with.
Runner goes, pitch high, McCann's throw high and late. So the Braves continue their running ways. Ender with a stolen base against a left-handed pitcher. That gives Atlanta 25 steals here in Grapefruit League action.
Yeah, it was a good catch and release by McCann. Throw was up a little bit, but still right on the above the bag. This is all on Ender getting a good jump.
So an RBI chance for Freddie here with a 2-0 count.
You know, I like this. I know it's spring training and you're working on stuff like your jumps. But in many cases, you wouldn't want Ender to steal in front of Freeman because it might take away the hole on the right side. But because the shift's on, you know, the second baseman way over in the hole, that hole's gone anyway. So why not? And give Freddie a chance to drive him in.
Fly ball hit toward shallow left, and that ball is down. Jacoby Jones couldn't make the play. Ender around third. They're going to wave him, and he's going to score on a slide. Freddie Freeman with a bloop drives home the game's first one, and the Braves lead 1-0.
That looked like an I got it, you take it. It looked like Leonis Martin, who's an excellent center fielder, took his eye off the ball to let Jones take it, who might have called for it. And then all of a sudden it was too far out of the reach of Jacoby Jones. Cost him a run.
So Ender and Freddie trade places. Freeman hopes to make it home with Kurt Suzuki coming up and batting cleanup this afternoon. Again, as Joe said, this might be a pretty good indication of the Braves opening day lineup when they face the Phillies at SunTrust Park. Brian Snitker has batted either Tyler Flowers or Kurt Suzuki fourth a lot this spring. And with Ronald Acuna starting the season in the minor leagues, looks to be how Atlanta will go to work offensively for the first couple of weeks of regular season play. And when you look at the numbers that Kurt Suzuki put up individually and Tyler Flowers collectively, catching core had cleanup hitter type numbers for Atlanta last year as Suzuki skies to center where Martin puts it away for the second out.
Now batting, number 22, Nick Markakis.
Nice cheer for Nick Markakis, who will bat for the first time today.
He's had a good spring. 364 average.
First pitch from Norris to Markakis, and that gets by McCann. Freddie Freeman moves up 90 feet. Well, you know, for Nick, this isn't his first rodeo. He's been through the big league wars for a long, long time. As a veteran player, knowing you're on the club, Joe, what's the biggest challenge with less than a week to go when you're a hitter as accomplished as Nick Markakis?
It's just getting some at-bats, fine-tuning what you've already been working on all spring, and hope that you're not wasting a lot of good hits and good swings down here before the season starts. But like you said, Nick's been around for a long time. He's been very consistent. So seeing a couple of big league pitchers, and by that I mean not guys that are on the bubble trying to make a club. See a guy like Norris, that gets you really ready for the start of the season.
And the lefty-lefty at bats,
sure.
I would assume, are real important. Markakis pulls it to the right side, and that's through the glove of Hicks. And Freddie Freeman scores. It's 2-0 Atlanta. So the Detroit D, or lack thereof, here in the first innings cost Norris a couple of runs.
Hit sharply, but the ball came up on him a little bit and couldn't knock it down. Hicks doesn't figure to get a lot of playing time at first base with a guy named Cabrera on their team.
So Preston Tucker gets a first inning at bat. We saw Preston for the first time 2 nights ago and was very impressive.
And you said something about maybe the opening night lineup. Tucker is certainly in play for that. And 2 days ago, we saw him start against Liriano, left-hander. He's starting against Norris today, left-hander. He's getting a good long look for perhaps not a platoon situation. They would be out there a lot.
And Brian Snitker talked about some of the attributes that Preston Tucker brings your club. Is he a Gold Glove defender? I think we'll say no. But he's opened eyes this spring with his bat, and for a club, Joe, that doesn't on paper have a lot of power, that is a very important commodity to have.
He's solid too. 6 feet 210. Played at the University of Florida. Last year was in the minor leagues all year, in AAA all year with Houston. They didn't call him up, but he had a big year. 24 homers, 96 RBIs. 2015 with Houston with the big league club, 13 homers and 33 RBIs and 300 at bats. He's been here before.
1-2 pitch, and tipped and caught by McCann, and Norris picks up his first strikeout. The Braves cash in a couple of defensive miscues and score twice in our first inning.
Don't
Trainings here and on MLB.TV. Watch select spring training games live on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply for regular season games. Visit MLB.TV for all the details. Braves 2, Tigers nothing after 1 inning of play. Nico Goodrum, John Hicks, and Jacoby Jones, the first 3 Tigers coming up. Goodrum's had a nice spring, hitting over 300. He's a Georgia boy out of Fayetteville.
A very good spring. Played third base here a couple of nights ago, playing shortstop today. Good change. For those of you seeing Anibal Sanchez pitch for the first time, and certainly pitch for the first time in a Braves uniform, you're going to watch him work both sides of the plate. You're going to see a little tee-out move on a little turn there like he just did. He's going to throw everything at you.
He pulled the string beautifully, didn't he? That was the slowest of the 3 pitches.
He's got 2 change-ups, one that you would call a straight change, and then he's got one that's kind of a floater, and that was 67 miles an hour and a beauty. It was said about him a couple of years ago when the Tigers had Verlander and Scherzer and Sanchez on their staff, so that Verlander and Scherzer will blow you away. Sanchez will confuse you.
Little pop down the right field line's going to drop to John Hicks, and he'll rumble into second base with a bloop double with 1 out.
Now batting in 21, Jacoby Jones.
He just dumped that ball into no man's land for Detroit, and he's at second base for Jacoby Jones. Well, it's kind of refreshing to watch a guy like Sanchez pitch in this era of Major League Baseball, don't you think? So many guys throw so hard that, in my opinion, control is lost at the expense of lighting up the radar gun. This guy's not going to impress you by throwing 95 or more.
No, and again, I'll go back to what I said when he started the first inning. There are going to be days where he's not right, where his command is not as good as he wants it to be. And because he's not throwing 95, it's going to be a short day for him. He's got to hit spots. He's got to change speeds, as he did on Goodrum, which was a beautiful sequence.
Well, he had his ace stuff, you recall, against the Braves when he was pitching with Detroit. April 26, 2013, he struck out 17 Atlanta hitters, which was a new Detroit Tiger franchise record for a 9-inning game. A record that was held by Mickey Lolich.
And he only pitched 8 innings. He was, I think he threw 122 pitches, so they took him out of the game. Tigers had a comfortable lead with 17 punch-outs.
How many pitches? 120?
122, I believe it was.
Well, we know 51 of them were strikes.
Yeah.
The Braves lineup that day, tell you how time flies. Andrelton Simmons was the Braves leadoff hitter at Comerica Park against Detroit. First, the 2-2 pitch. Another bloop. And is shallow right. This one will drop in front of Nick Markakis. And Hicks will stop at third base. Couple of bloopers for the Tigers. Put runners at the corners with 1 out. Simmons led off. Dan Uggla, Justin Upton, Freddie Freeman, Chris Johnson, Evan Gattis, B.J. Upton, Reed Johnson, and Juan Francisco served as the Braves' designated hitter that day. Or that night, I should say. And the amazing stat that Flip Feinberg looked up for us before the game, Freddie Freeman was 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts against Sanchez.
Which I would bet money that that was the last time Freddie struck out 4 times in a game.
But you and I did that game, and it was a nasty, cold, raw, upper Midwest night that you could tell from the get-go that Sanchez had everything working. Certainly 17 strikeouts would confirm that for you.
He was dazzling. Another well-located off-speed pitch.
One ball, one strike, 2-0 Atlanta. Tigers threatening in the second. Headed for the burn beyond the third base dugout.
See, there was another change in his delivery, slide step, so kind of a quick pitch in a way to Reyes, who was late on the pitch.
Another little pop. And Tucker in left. Makes the grab. Runner's going to tag and go halfway. And there's out number 2. Reyes, a Rule 5 pick. In fact, he was the first Rule 5 choice in the draft this past offseason out of the Arizona system. He's getting a long look this spring for a Tiger Club, Joe, that's in rebuild mode.
Very athletic. Good-looking kid. Nice play by Preston Tucker, too, to get rid of that and hit the cutoff man to prevent the runner at first base from advancing.
Daniel Pinero, the final hope for Detroit in the second. Runner at first goes. The pitch is low. And a stolen base for Jacoby Jones.
Tigers have hit a ton of home runs this spring, 32 of them. And that's the 3rd highest mark in the Grapefruit League. Cross up maybe. Of course, working with Kurt Suzuki for the first time. Tell you what was cool though was in the clubhouse before the game, they have not worked together, and Kurt was pretending to set up behind home plate, like behind a towel. And Anibal was talking about setting up where he wanted him with various pitches, and they were really trying to have a cram course working with each other.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how long do you think it takes a catcher, even one as veteran status as Kurt Suzuki, to have an idea of what Sanchez is trying to do on the mound? I'm sure he's faced him a lot, but catching him, not just putting signals down, but catching him, a whole different story. And you just want Pinero to load the bases. Carlos Martin will bat with 3 aboard and 2 outs.
Had a base to work with, but the 9-hole hitter in the lineup with 2 outs really didn't give him much to hit. And he's going to work from the windup.
Always good to get ahead. He does to Martin, strike 1. Martin rolled out to short his first time up. Martin out of Cuba. Big league stops Texas, Seattle, and finished with the Cubs. SG is going to line out to right. Hard hit ball. Detroit strands 3 in inning number 2. It's 2-0 Atlanta.
Mark Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Yellowwood. SunTrust. Confidence starts here. And Sherwin-Williams.
Dansby Swanson's going to lead off the second for the Braves. Atlanta got 2 first-inning runs off Daniel Norris. Dansby Swanson, Rio Ruiz, and then Anibal Sanchez are coming up. That's up and in for Swanson. 1 ball and no strikes. Couple of homers, 4 RBIs for Dansby, hitting .222 here at Disney. And you touched on a little swing tweak of Dansby Swanson from last season to this.
Yeah, if you weren't with us a couple of nights ago, he's trying to hold his hands a little more in front of him so that he doesn't push them back behind his right shoulder and create a long swing. And just trying to move them up towards his right shoulder from that starting position. Shorten the swing a little bit. And as Kevin Seitzer said, maybe try not to think about pulling quite so much.
Chopper hit towards short. Big hop. Strong throw, and it pulled Hicks off the bag. So Goodrum unleashed a laser to first, but it was off target, and Dansby's aboard to start the inning.
Now batting number 14, Rio Ruiz.
Another Detroit error. They made 3 here the other night.
Yeah, not the kind of thing that Ron Gardenhire wants to see at this stage of spring training. Regardless of who the players are on the field, he expects things to be a little tighter than they have been in these 2 games.
Rio Ruiz with a couple of homers this spring, 10 RBIs, batting .232. Looks like he might get strong consideration to open the year at third base for the Braves with Johan Camargo out with that back issue.
Yeah, Camargo, he's walking around like he lost his dog. He just so down and out about having to start the season on the DL. But they're being very cautious with that oblique and back issue.
Goodrum another chance at short. High throw to second. And another high throw to first, and no chance to get Rio. Amarista almost threw that into the camera well. So Dansby's forced at second with 1 out. Let's see what Sanchez can do.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Amarista even tried that.
I think Anibal asked McCann for a fastball right down the middle. I mean, they're old buddies.
Probably.
Foul back.
It's been a while since he's had to hit. Remember, he actually started his career with the Boston Red Sox. Went to Miami in that big trade that included Hanley Ramirez. So he had to hit for a few years while with the Marlins, but that's been a while.
Oh, 2. And bunted out of play, and Anibal is struck out.
Now batting number 11, Ender Inciarte.
So 2 outs. Ender and Ciarte, the batter. He singled, stole a base, and scored in the first. You mentioned the season for Ender last year. Made the All-Star team. Won his 2nd straight Gold Glove. 201 hits for the Braves. Hit .304 as well. I'm with you. I love the fact the Braves are running this spring. I hope it carries over into regular season action as well.
And another point that Brian Snitker made to you and I before the ball game. Not just the running aspect, but how important the defensive metrics have suddenly stepped up to force teams or suggest to teams that they become a little more athletic, and especially in the outfield. Better defense, a little more speed, a little more running. There's certainly still a reliance on home runs with a record set last year, but only if you have the personnel for that. If you don't, there are other ways to win a ball game.
Two balls and a strike. And Ender fought that off. 2-2. So with 2 outs, Rio will get a head start.
I like Norris a lot. I love his arm action. He's kind of a whippet out there, you know. He's thin, tall and thin. Quick arm action.
And he missed with ball 4. 2 on, 2 out. As his first walk. He's had base runners all over the place because of some shaky Tiger defense in the early going. Well, Norris, an interesting story out of Johnson City, Tennessee. Free spirit. You know the story about him living in his Volkswagen van, and he'd drive all over the country and all of that. More importantly, he's a thyroid cancer survivor. So to see him make it all the way back from that is a great story in and of itself. The story he'd really like to write is help the Tigers rebuild, accelerate now that Justin Verlander is no longer at the top of their rotation.
They've got the makings at the top of the rotation of some pretty good arms with Jordan Zimmerman, who's going to start opening day. Fulmer, Norris. That's a pretty good 1, 2, 3 to start. But like the Braves, we go back a couple of years for Atlanta, you're looking at a similar situation for Detroit, where they're just trying to find pieces to fill in until some of their younger players are ready to step in.
Smash on a play, and over the upper deck, still no balls, 2 strikes. A little late again, fouled away, still 1 and 2. Pop into right center field, and Leonis Martin takes over. Reyes was there as well, and that's the Atlanta inning. In the ATL, when the best of Atlanta sports are all in one place. It's Hawks, Braves, and Atlanta United coming soon to Fox Sports South and Fox Sports Southeast. April in the ATL is presented by Advance Auto Parts. Picture perfect Friday afternoon at Disney.
Yeah, it's a lot better than it was 2 nights ago. That was chilly.
Not a cloud in the sky today. Gentle breeze blowing out toward the batting cages in left center. And Anibal Sanchez ready for his 3rd inning of work. Ryan Snooker mentioned before the game, 4 innings, 65 pitches or thereabouts is what he'd like to see out of Sanchez. He's halfway to that 4-inning mark so far today.
How about that first pitch? Change up 76 miles an hour. It makes me wonder when he was released by the Twins, I thought maybe there was a physical problem, that he just wasn't able to get the ball to the plate. He wasn't throwing hard enough, something like that. But when you think about the Twins and how they're going for it, and they signed Lance Lynn, so they needed to make room for him on the 40-man roster, and they released Sanchez rather than release, or designate for assignment one of their prospects. He was the odd man out. Makes you wonder if they hadn't signed Lynn, if the Twins would have kept him as maybe their 5th starter. Because there's no signs of any physical problems today.
No. Good command, reasonable pitch count, getting ahead of hitters. The 3 hits he's given up, 2 of them were bloops. So he's had these hitters off stride a lot for the Tigers. As that one to Victor Martinez, missed inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he's from a baseball hotbed in Venezuela, Maracay, home of former Brave Martin Prado and tons of other major league players.
He says yes to the Suzuki sign, and Victor Martinez pops this one into shallow center. Ender is there, and he's got it.
See, that's a case where a guy who knows how to pitch, as he and Victor exchange a hello, is that you don't have to throw 95 to pitch inside. That ball tailed. It started inside, but Victor committed early, so he was trying to fight it off a little bit. It was 89 miles an hour, but it was moving. You can pitch at that velocity. You just got to know where to put it.
A guy by the name of Greg Maddux did it pretty well, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
James McCann popped out to center his first time, so he takes another look at Sanchez and looks at ball 1. Muscled up and threw that one at 91. So we've seen 91, maybe a 92 mile an hour fastball, and then we had that 67 mile an hour changeup earlier. That's pretty broad spectrum of pitch velocities. And that one squibbed right off the end of the bat. Sanchez dropped it. Catcher running, flips to first in time, and that retires the side.
Nice recovery, too.
3 up, 3 down. First one of those for Anibal today. 2-0. Who better to lead things off than Freddie Freeman, Joe? He's today's SunTrust Confidence Starts Here feature.
Last season, his National League ranks top 10 in all these categories, despite the fact that he missed so many games with that broken wrist. Home run every 15.5 times up. Great year, as we said the other night. It was going to be an MVP quality season had he been able to stay on the field.
And the timing of it, well, first, there's no good time for a great player to get hurt. But the timing of the injury was really awful for Freddie last year. This one's out of play foul. Braves are about to go to Anaheim and face the Angels. And he's from that part of the world. And everybody was looking forward to seeing Mike Trout and Freddie Freeman face each other in opposing uniforms. And then Mike Trout got hurt. So we never see Mike Trout, first of all, and then the Angels never see Freddie Freeman. Neither one got to play in that series out at Anaheim.
He was looking forward to going out there because the last time the Braves played in Anaheim, he wore them out. It was a return home. He had a lot of family and friends there. Had a great series.
Launch mode, right center field. Pretty well hit. That ball is off the scoreboard. He almost hit himself in the face. A towering home run for Freddie Freeman, again off the left-handed pitcher, and it's 3-0. He's ready.
Yep. Second homer of the spring. Fastball, belt high out over the plate. No doubter.
Yeah, you don't miss those too often, do you?
Nope. He doesn't.
So Freeman's got a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs, a couple of runs, and the lead's now 3 for Kurt Suzuki. Talked about the Braves catching tandem of Suzuki and Flowers last year. That duo combined for 30 homers and 98 RBIs. And the playing time was split almost perfectly right down the middle. Well, Suzuki playing in 81 games last year. I would guess that'll be the same game plan for the Braves in 2018. After Kurt came off a career-high 19-homer season in those 81 games.
Yeah, but didn't he have some stretch like from after the All-Star break, or really even from the 1st of August, where he was up there with all the big home run guys like Judge and Stanton in terms of home runs per at-bats. It was crazy.
From July 1st to the end of the season, Suzuki hit a homer every 10.87 at-bats.
There you go.
6th best in the major leagues. The only players that had homers with more frequency than Suzuki over that stretch, you might remember Giancarlo Stanton, J.D. Martinez, Rhys Hoskins, Joey Gallo, and Aaron Judge.
I didn't know Gallo was in there.
I didn't either. The second walk issued by Norris. Markakis the batter, and he takes a shot at left and is a little late. Strike one. Speaking of Judge and Stanton, maybe we'll see one of, maybe both of those guys here tomorrow. The Braves and Yankees will face off here at Champion Stadium. We'll have the game for you at 1 o'clock Eastern Time here on Fox. And Julio Teheran is the Braves' scheduled starter. Can't wait to see him. When you look at his spring numbers, Joe, it's been outstanding.
He said reapplication of himself to conditioning, getting better this offseason, and work on his slider. He really needed to sharpen his slider, and it feels like that's really paid off for him here in spring training.
Broken bat right back to the mound. Norris gets one and goes two. So Norris makes a good pitch when he needed one. 2 for the price of 1. Markakis rolls out. And here's Preston Tucker, who struck out his first time. Joe mentioned Preston Tucker out of Tampa, Florida, and the University of Florida. Out of Plant High School over in Tampa. Florida's always had a very, very good baseball program. Preston Tucker, when he left the Gators, set school records for hits, at-bats, doubles, and RBIs, and the second most home runs in Florida baseball history.
That's a lot. Well, his track record, not only does he have power and hit homers, but he strikes out a lot. Comes with the territory for him. But I sure liked what I saw 2 nights ago with a couple of swings, especially against Francisco Liriano.
One ball, 2 strikes. Well, he has an interesting path to the major league roster. Obviously, Ronald Acuna is going to be here at some point. Can this guy be a Matt Adams type hitter for Atlanta once Ronald Acuna takes over as an everyday outfielder for the Atlanta club?
That's a good question and a good call. That may be something that's already in the back of Brian Snitker's mind as he watches Tucker. And he checked his swing and takes ball 4. Second walk of the inning, 3rd walk of the game for Norris. Good at bat, laid off some borderline pitches.
Dansby reached on a shortstop's throwing error back in the Braves' second. So his second look at Norris today. Mentioned the mechanical adjustments that Dansby is trying to implement this spring. Is he at the point where he ought to feel comfortable with those changes at this point?
I would think so. He's had enough at bats to work on those things. This is an excellent situation for him to implement that right here. Even though there's 2 outs and a runner at first, he's got a hole over there on the right side. Why not take the opportunity in your head, pretend that it's, you know, a leadoff walk, trying to move a guy first to third, and work on trying to hit that hole.
Get the fastball from Norris. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hope to have several Braves join us on the microphone later on during our telecast today. Dansby Swanson's on that list, so hopefully he'll be able to join us. And we want to stay tuned for that. Norris had a lot of deep counts already in the game. He's in his 3rd inning. And he's about to throw his 66th pitch. Popped up. Foul ground and bobbled. And a perfect bounce to Alexi Amarista, who's in the right place at the right time. Straight A's for Amarista as he bails out his big first baseman, John Hicks. Goodrum will lead off for the Tigers. John Hicks and Jacoby Jones are set to follow. Anibal Sanchez, 3 innings of 3-hit shutout ball so far.
Started the last inning off against Amarista with a good changeup for a called strike. What's he going to do this inning?
Knee high fastball over the outside corner. That's a good place. Strike 1. Same pitch, same result.
Boy, he is sharp. And a veteran move there. Just took him a little bit wider off the plate to see if Goodrum would offer.
One ball, 2 strikes for the former Minnesota Twins prospect Nico Goodrum. They took him in the 2nd round of the draft back in 2010. So he too, another young player. Ron Gardenhire probably had a look at him when he was in the Minnesota organization. Brought him over to Detroit to see if he can open some eyes and give them some more organizational depth, perhaps, as there's the change. And Goodrum didn't get it. Struck him out twice.
During the course of the season, sometimes you hear me talk about a changeup that goes right to the back point of the plate. And that's where that one was. It split the plate. He wasn't trying to hit a corner. It was just all about change of speed and making it look like a fastball, and very effective.
Hicks hits it a mile high toward left. Tucker on the run to the track and to the wall. Can't get it. It's off the top of the fence. And John Hicks gallops into second with his 2nd double, and he just missed hitting it out of the park.
Can't believe that didn't go out. Clean breaking ball there. And just out of the reach of Tucker. But it stayed in the yard.
Fourth Tiger hit. Hicks has 2 of them. Jacoby Jones has 1 himself. He's also stolen a base. Jones getting the start in left for the Tigers. Pickoff play, and they got him. Ozzie snuck in behind Hicks and applied the tag perfectly.
This is very interesting because this is what the Braves were working on this morning when I got to the ballpark. It was pickoff plays, in particular at second base. Now Sanchez wasn't involved in that because he was inside getting ready for his start. But what they'd been working on, they tried and it worked. Nice job by Albies to kind of block him off the bag too.
So Sanchez with a great pickoff play at second gets the 2nd out of the inning. And now he's way ahead of Jones, 0-2. Really is a game of inches. Hicks almost hit it out of the park, and then he's out on a bang play at second on a pickoff play. One and 2.
He's got 91 or 92 when he wants it.
Pulled the string, and Jones couldn't catch up.
What an outing.
4 scoreless innings for Anibal Sanchez with 3 strikeouts. He's scattered 4 hits, and he's coming up second with the Braves bat in the 4th. Fox Sports, Chip and Joe with you from Walt Disney World and Champion Stadium. Our great crew downstairs, Mike Miller, our director, Brian Woodrum, our producer, Gretchen Caney, our AD, Arbuckle Jenkins on stats, and Flip Feinberg is with us as well. For our second spring telecast, back at it tomorrow afternoon. Then our final spring tune-up will take place at SunTrust Park on Monday night when the Braves host the Yankees. One ball, two strikes. As the spring roster stands, Atlanta has 36 players still in camp. Got it down to 25 for opening day against the Phillies. Who didn't get that? He chased a Norris pitch up and in and is struck out. One away.
Now batting, number 64.
So Norris with 3 strikeouts brings up Sanchez, who was his first strikeout victim. He did that trying to bunt.
And obviously going to go another inning. Do we have a pitch count for on a ball through 4? $52. Wow, outstanding.
So that's real efficient for Sanchez, who takes a strike. It's 0-1. Puts it in play and chops it to short. Goodrum with a good throw that time. 2 outs. And back to top we go Ender Inciarte. The other night when we had Alex Anthopoulos on, we were asking him about the, I don't want to say shift to, but the added importance of metrics and analytics for the Atlanta Braves. He talked about the total collective organizational buy-in by the Braves, and Brian Snitker was very quick to point out that Ender Inciarte was among those who were very, very encouraged by and interested in those improvements. And the point was, how do you tell a guy that's won 2 straight Gold Gloves, hey, you can do better?
Yeah, and that you could improve on your positioning.
But Ender has, as has Nick Markakis. 2 balls, no strikes. In this era of launch angles and balls flying out of the ballpark and home runs being set at a record pace, boy, run prevention is at a premium. And if a step for an outfielder can save you a hit or a run, you'd be foolish not to take the advice, and Ender wisely has. Norris has a 1-2-3 inning, his first of the game, and we are off to the 5th.
Attention fans.
thrown 72 pitches in this game. Only one of them, however, has allowed the Tigers to score 3 runs.
The only 2 mistakes he made today, one on the ball was hit off the wall by Hicks, and this hanging off speed pitch just out of the reach of Tucker, hit by McCann, hit hard by McCann. That was up in the zone. So aside from those 2, I mean, even with the 3 runs, I'm sorely impressed. I thought he did a great job. Maybe got a little tired there that inning.
50 strikes among his 72 pitches, Joe. 5 innings, 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Not bad for a guy the Braves signed a week ago today. A ball toward the left side by Ozzie. Goodwin loads up. He got a strong arm. Nico gets his man. Albies retired to start the 5th as Norris tries to get deeper into the game despite a high pitch count. He's got his first out of the inning. He hasn't solved Freddie Freeman, however. Freeman's doubled and homered. One ball, no strikes. Norris among many current major league pitchers who employs that rather modified windup. Just bare minimum movement. Step back and turn it loose. Something Mike Fultonevich has employed for the Braves. We won't see Mike's work this spring, but we will see him in the early days of regular season play, perhaps against the Phillies.
Scheduled for game 2, isn't he?
I think that would be it. And Mike's had a good spring. Three balls and a strike. And Freddie takes the walk. So he's reached base all 3 times he's come to the plate, and Kurt Suzuki will be the hitter. 4 walks for Norris.
A couple of nights ago, Liriano walked 4 or 5, didn't he?
Yeah, Liriano walked 5, gave up 4 hits in his 5 innings. Tigers committed 3 errors in that game. They've made 2 today, but they're tied 3-3. Suzuki pops it up. Long run, Amarista. Handles that one without an assist from one of his Tiger infield mates. He ranges into shallow right to take care of Kurt, and that's the second out of the inning.
Freddie Freeman's day is over. Sean Kazmar pinch running for him.
Grandfather would have no chance with the Braves with a Kazmir and a Kazmar on the roster.
It would ultimately be Casbah.
Pretty good chance. 1 ball, no strikes. Sharply hit, but Amarista is there, and Norris has the game tied through 5. 3-3 our score. Back for the 6th in a moment. Today was the work of Anibal Sanchez, signed by the Braves a week ago. And Joe, 5 innings of 7 hit, 3-run ball.
Yeah, all 3 runs and 3 of the 7 hits came in that last inning of work. But Anibal, I would guess you had to be very pleased with your outing today. You look sharp.
Yeah, I figured today, especially like you know, was lucky with Chuck about it. You know, I got like before last outing, I got like 2.5 weeks that they didn't pitch, so be on track every Friday. And you know, I figured today, especially with the command that I showed today with my all pitch, my changer working really good today, and I'm able to use my slow changer today. And I figure, I think when I put that pitch for strike, I can do a lot in the game.
Yeah, both change-ups were beautiful. I love the real slow change-up. That was awesome.
Kind of reminds me of when you pitched against the Braves. I like you wearing a Braves uniform better than that Tiger uniform when you struck out 17 guys.
Yeah. You know, it's I remember that game the day that I signed with this team. But you know, back then, I figured the day I remember before that game, a lot of hard time the Braves gave it to me, especially when I play with the Miami Marlins.
Anibal, how do you feel physically? You feel good?
I figure I feel healthy. You know, like I put everything together this offseason, working at home, try to put like, you know, the more effort I can to be able every 5 days. And that's what I'm working right now. You know, I got this opportunity right now to start in the 2 games in the spring training, so you know, they show what I have.
What have the Braves said to you about your chances? What have they told you your role would be if you were able to pitch well enough to impress Alex Anthopoulos and Brian Snitker?
Yeah, right now, you know, probably they're gonna talk with me either today or tomorrow. I don't know exactly what's going on right now, but you know, I'm blessed to be with the uniform, especially with the braid, and you know, I'm able to pitch, especially also against my ex-team.
Yeah, that was kind of fun, I'm sure, and I bet you had some fun with Victor and with James McCann.
Yeah, I got like a very good friends over there. I spend a lot of time there. Victor is one of the, you know, the best guys over there. He's fun, and then I know it's you know, something funny coming during the game, and you know, and he's good. And beside that, he's a great hitter.
What was it like for you and Kurt Suzuki? I saw you guys kind of talking it over before the game, trying to get together, but when you've never worked with a catcher before, that's going to be kind of tough.
Yeah, he's a little bit tough, but at the end, you know, Suzuki is the guy that I faced a lot when he was with Minnesota, and he know, you know, a little bit my stuff. And just at the end, we just try to put together a couple signs, you know, working on signs. We running on base, sequence during the game, but you know, I think we got pretty good communication.
Yeah.
When did the Braves call you after Minnesota let you go?
What do you say?
How long did it take for the Braves to call you once you were let go by Minnesota?
I think as soon as I come out of waiver, is you know, the guy, I received a call from my agent. They told me you know, Braves, they want to give me the opportunity to be in the spring training, to pitch the game and show what I have, and you know, after that they're gonna take some decision about it. But you know, like it's a blessing all the time when you got the opportunity. That especially this offseason was rough for a lot of free agents guys, and be here, you know, I feel blessing for that.
Well, I tell you, Anibal, you certainly didn't hurt your chances today. You pitched wonderfully. It was fun to watch you pitch, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Nice job, Anibal. Congratulations. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hope for good news the next day or so for you.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Anibal Sanchez, 5 innings of 7 hit ball for the Braves today. And these are the kinds of problems I would assume, Joe, a pitching coach, a manager, and a general manager want to have when you have guys pitch under pressure like Sanchez did and come through to make whatever decisions you have to make more difficult.
Well, I don't care how long you've been pitching, how many years you've got in the big leagues. When you know the spotlight's on you and you gotta show it. He did today. That's part of it too.
A.J. Minter on the mound is the first man out of the chute for the Braves. And no restrictions for A.J. Minter. Brian Snitker said before the game he is good to go for regular season duty.
Not bad work for the Braves last year when he got called up. 15 innings, 26 strikeouts. 15 innings, 26 strikeouts, and 2 walks.
That's the best one, that last number. The 2 walks. Start of the year at single A for the Braves with the Fire Frogs. Then Rome, Mississippi, Gwinnett, and all the way to the big leagues. And as, again, Brian was saying before the game, you look at the numbers for the Braves bullpen last year and the struggles they had at times. Brian said, you know what? A lot of our bullpen was on rehab all the year, or they were coming back in what was their rehab year. Minter's certainly one of those guys. So they're really hoping for big things out of this powerful young left-hander, A.J. Minter. And he just painted the inside corner and froze Jacoby Jones. 3 up, 3 down for A.J. Minter in the 6th. Jones can't believe it, and the Braves are coming up, still tied. Available for opening day Thursday, March 29th, when the Phillies are in town. It's a day at the ballpark you don't want to miss. Get your seats for opening day today at braves.com/tickets. This is Shane Green out of Claremont, Florida.
Well, he did a good job for the Tigers last year.
He became their closer in late July after Francisco Rodriguez faltered, and maybe Shane Green, Joe, will be the answer to the perpetual question that the Tigers have had, and that is who can close games for them. He did an excellent job in 2017. In fact, he came to spring training and said the closer's job is mine to lose.
4-3, 9 saves, and an excellent 2.66 ERA. Top 10 in the American League in appearances.
High strike for Preston Tucker, who was walked in, struck out.
Well, that is a short arm action from Green. And it comes out of his right ear.
Broken bat, roller to first. That'll take care of Tucker. Green cleans it up with the bag, 1 out.
Now batting number 16, Charlie Culberson.
Charlie Culberson grabs a bat. He'll hit for Dansby Swanson in this 3-3 game in the 6th. Shane Green began his career with the New York Yankees. And after the 2014 season, he was traded to the Tigers, part of a 3-team deal that sent Robbie Ray and a minor leaguer to Arizona and Didi Gregorius to the Bronx. Green started in the starting rotation, got off to an excellent start in 2015, then dropped 6 of his next 7 decisions, and been kind of a bullpen guy since, and now, as we said, become an excellent closer. Culberson to straightaway center. That ball's carrying, but Martine's going to catch it, and Charlie's retired for out number 2.
Got another guest on the line.
Hello, Kurt.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Well, tell us your thoughts on the last 2 guys we've seen on our air. First of all, Anibal Sanchez today, and then gentleman who pitched 2 nights ago, Brandon McCarthy.
Veterans, you know, they have an idea of what they're going to do out there. You know, I've caught Mac before, you know, early on in our careers. We were paired up in Oakland, so we kind of had a feel of what each other likes to do. And Anibal, you know, just facing him a bunch of times and kind of having an idea of what he likes to do as well. So we were kind of on the same page right off the bat, me and Anibal, and you know, just kind of went from there.
Stick around. We got more for you. Hang on.
You got it.
For sticking around for the 7th inning. And Kurt, you mentioned with Brandon McCarthy a moment ago that you've had an opportunity to work with him before. Joe caught something in the locker room before the game today. You were working with Anibal Sanchez, not necessarily on what finger to put down, but positioning, which is kind of interesting.
Looked like your setup.
Yeah, it was more, you know, with runners on base, you know, what he likes me to do and certain counts and certain situations and stuff like that. That's all the growing process. Like the pitch selection and all that stuff kind of just comes with the flow of the game and, you know, understanding what he likes to do, what his strengths and weaknesses are. But if I can present him with a target that he's comfortable with, that he likes, helps me to get him in the zone more. You know, that's kind of what we talked about.
Well, we kind of figure that McCarthy's a lock. Supposed to be the starter for day 3. Not the case with Anibal. He had to come in here and pretty much show what he could do. And I thought he was very impressive today and had an awesome changeup, and not just one changeup, but 2.
Yeah, he mixes it up. You know, the funny thing was I told him, I said, I don't know if I have enough fingers for you. But you know, just facing him, you know, I know he's got, you know, tons of different pitches, and you know, his first game in Houston that you know, I caught him. You know, he doesn't shake. You know, he trusts you and he goes along with you. He shook a couple times today when he was going against Victor just because he knows Victor. But you know, for the most part, we're on the same page. We just try to move it around, and he's all about execution. If he feels like he can execute any one of his pitches at any time, he feels like it's a good pitch, and that's the type of confidence that you want to have in your pitcher.
Kurt, last year was your first, obviously, with the Braves organization, and I'm sure you knew all about the highly touted pitching prospects that were coming through the system. We're a year deeper now into this rebuild with these young pitchers, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of them this spring. Can you talk about the growth that you've seen, not just from the minor league guys, but guys in rotation now? Fultonevich, Tehran, for example, have you seen that?
Yeah, I mean, you see Fulte. Obviously, his numbers this spring are pretty unbelievable. You know, it's not just about the numbers, too. Just the way he's in control of everything and control of his body, and that comes with, like you said, growth, maturity. You know, he understanding situations and not getting overhyped in certain spots, and that's just the process that it takes to grow. And you know, I've had the chance to catch guys like Soroka and Allard, and you just watch their composure. Besides the talent that sticks out at you, they seem like they got it between the ears, and that's also important as well.
Well, it's getting to be pretty exciting times around here with these guys kind of percolating to the big league level, and they're not that far away.
Yeah, they're close, man, and you know, anytime you can get towards that AA, you know, level, maybe a little bit of a AAA, you know, you're right on the cusp. And you know, we've seen it many times before, guys getting called up right away, and you know, when you need somebody gets hurt or you need a spot to fill or something like that, and these guys can come up and give them an opportunity to show what they got. So it's an exciting time here. You know, I'm excited to see what these guys do if and when they get that chance up in the show.
Let's go back to you. Talk about you some more, because
a bullet by Pinheiro into left field, and the Tigers have two aboard with nobody out.
arguably your best year last year, even splitting time with Tyler Flowers. So as a veteran player who had tremendous success last year, do you come to camp tweaking anything, or you just try to keep everything status quo?
I try to keep everything status quo. You know, obviously during the season, there's going to be adjustments. There's going to be things that need to be made. It's just baseball. But for the most part, it's all between the head. I mean, between the ears. You know, it's all in the head. Just staying mentally prepared. You know, preparing yourself to be able to go out there on an everyday basis, whether you're starting or you're not. You know, there's always a chance that you might get into that game. So always keeping yourself ready is always important. So me and Flo are super excited about this year and excited to see, you know, how things play out, and, you know, excited about our team.
Everybody in the major leagues wants to play and wants to play a lot. And you and Tyler split the catching duties extremely well last year. You're an excellent teammate, and among your catching brethren, you two have a very unique and great friendship. Would you agree?
Definitely agree. You know, you don't, I mean, it's hard for me to say because, you know, I haven't been on every other team, but it seems like it would be not as how me and Flo are, you know, everywhere you go in the big leagues. We just have that connection where, you know, there's no ego. You know, we understand the situation. Obviously, if there's one player playing better than the other, they're going to play. And, you know, I'm just out there just trying to help the team, and I think Flo can say the same thing. And if you kind of watch us throughout the season, throughout spring training here, we're always trying to help each other out, where, you know, he has obviously some strengths that, you know, I don't have, and I have some things that you know, I can teach him as well. So we're always trying to help each other out, trying to pick each other's brain, and I think that makes for a good combo.
Are there times during a game where, let's say you're catching, you're in the ballgame, where maybe Tyler saw something, either watching a video or went back up and checked something, where you can come back and say, hey, I noticed this on so-and-so. You might be able to try something different on him next time?
Oh, 100%. And even with my catching as well, you know, there's a ton of games last year that, you know, me and Flo would be in the dugout, whether it's I'm catching or he's catching, and one of us would come down and they'll be like, I'll say to him, hey, why don't you try this? You know, this might help, and you might like this. And, you know, he'll go out and say, okay, and vice versa, where if I'm catching, you know, he'll come up and offer some advice to me, and what he sees might help. And we just constantly, every single game, you know, I think last year we were doing that. And, you know, that just makes for fun, too. You know, it's fun, and we're all trying to win here, so it's been great.
Sure. But I'm sure you're really, really bummed out that you won't get to catch the knuckleball this year.
Yeah, I mean, me and Flo were talking about that. I asked him, "Has he still got those knuckleball gloves?" He goes, "I don't know where they are." I said, "Me neither."
Yeah.
I said, "Let's hope we don't have to pull them out."
Yeah. What happened? Tell me about the power. Where'd that come from? I know I joke with you all the time about the axe handle bat. Was that something that you feel has led to the power surge that you enjoyed last year?
You know, I think a little bit. You know, I mean, the comfort, obviously, having the right model, right, feel in your hands is huge. But at the same time, I think, working with sights and notch last year in the batting cage, working about being freer, being looser, tension free, and just letting your hands work a lot. That really, I think that's when I really took off, is when I felt that, and that little adjustment with a little tweak we worked in the cage. I think I took about 300 swings in a game in the batting cage, just hitting every inning with Nachi, and we just worked on it until it becomes comfortable, and just kind of took off. And it's being around, honestly, somebody like Freddie and watching Freddie hit, watching his approach to every single at-bat that he does. He never gives away any single at-bat. He's ready from pitch one. So,
that's right.
There's things, even being in the game for 10+ years, there's always things you can learn. And that's what I love about baseball, just being in the game, being around special players like Freddie, and being around great coaches like Seitz and Nachi. You can always learn things.
Well, I think what you just said, too, I want to go back to one of the things I appreciate about you, Kurt, is how you handle the fastball. Nobody can throw a fastball by you, but it's because you stay back so well and just let your hands work. And I've said this repeatedly, that I learned from good players that your hands are a lot quicker than you think they are if you let them work, if you don't let everything else get in the way. And that's what, to me, is so pretty about your swing, is that you don't have any wasted motion and you just take your hands to the ball.
Yeah, that's kind of, I try to keep my swing as simple as possible. I know, guys, everybody has their own approach, and everybody has their own setup and positioning and things like that. I try to keep mine simple, less movement, similar to Freddie. What he does, less movement, and allows your hands to just go straight to the ball. And like you said, if you're on the fastball, it seems like you can lay off that nasty slider or curveball. Mm-hmm. But when you're kind of in between, thinking about pitches, then you start chasing balls and you start being late for the heater. But if you're on the fastball, for me, it seems like, you can stay back on the off-speed, and that's when you're going to hit those off-speed pitches for pulled home runs, is when you're on the fastball, and then you can recognize the off-speed easier.
Well, from July 1st to the end of last year, we told the audience this, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, you had the 6th highest home run rate in the major leagues. Did you know that?
Oh, man.
Stanton, Martinez, Rhys Hoskins, Joey Gallo, and Aaron Judge were the only guys that homered more frequently than you did on a per-at-bat basis from July 1st to the end of the season. That's pretty good company.
That's hot.
That's pretty big company right there. That's pretty big company. I think I stack up pretty well against those guys, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. James McCann rips one to the wall in right center field, and 2 more Tigers are going to score.
Rough outing here from Matt.
Yep, 6 straight Tiger hits.
Well, Kurt, we just hope more of the same. We hope you have a great year. We hope you have a healthy year, which means then those numbers will stay high. But have a great 2018. We're looking for great improvement from the Atlanta Braves, because we just feel a big buzz around this camp like everybody else.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Good to see you guys again.
Always a pleasure, Kurt. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Kurt Suzuki. As the Tigers have touched up Matt Whistler for 5 runs on 6 hits so far here in the top of the 7th inning. There you see the defensive changes for the Braves, as Chuck Hernandez out for a quick visit with Mr. Whistler.
Big day for McCann. That's 5 RBIs for him.
They've come in his last 2 at bats.
Everybody can have a bad outing in spring training. Unfortunately for Matt Whistler, his first 3 outings were very good. Over the course of 7 innings, he had not given up a run. But his last 2 outings coming in, 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 in the 3rd innings, 4 hits and a run, and then today has not recorded an out yet. So it's rough timing for him.
One more defensive change for the Braves. Ezekiel Carrera has taken over in left for Preston Tucker. The Tigers have 8 runs on 13 hits today. Civic with a nice stop. On the ball in the dirt, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
There are a couple of spots still open up in the Braves bullpen, and Brian Snitker has made it fairly clear that those spots are for long relievers, or the potential for long relievers. And Matt Whistler was in line for one of those. This is not going to help his cause today.
Still hasn't retired a batter, and that's going to be the end of the line for him.
And Lucas Sims yesterday got knocked around pretty hard in his outing, and both guys were considered candidates for that role, but not good outings for either one of them the last 2 days.
So after 23 pitches, Matt Whistler will depart as the Tigers continue here in the 7th inning.
Airlines, Landmark Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, and by Xfinity. Xfinity delivers the fastest internet with the best in-home Wi-Fi experience. Call, click, or visit an Xfinity store today.
8-3, Detroit has the lead. Wes Parsons takes over here in the 7th inning. Parsons relieves Matt Whistler, who gave up 6 hits and 5 runs so far. Double play ball. There's one. And Culberson with a bad throw pulls Kazmar off the bag at first base. I think it's safe to say the last couple of games Braves and Tigers have played, it has not been a defensive showcase.
No. But a nice job here by Parsons to get the ground ball. Kazmar pulled off the bag so far he couldn't even reach the runner.
So this is Cam Gibson.
It's a pretty big name in Detroit Tiger history. Gibson. Kirk now one of the broadcasters.
And this is Kirk Gibson's son.
Is it really? I had a feeling.
He was a 5th-round pick in the Detroit draft. Left-hand hitter, 6'2", 200 pounds, and can really run.
A big surprise there. When his dad first broke in, and I was still playing some first base in those days, you could not only hear Kirk coming, you could feel the ground shake.
Really?
He was fast, ran fast, he ran hard.
So what a thrill for the Gibson family. Cam Gibson following in his dad's footsteps and wearing the Old English D of the Detroit Tigers. Big league spring game. And it's slashed out of play for a full count.
Good year last year for Parsons. Almost a strikeout per inning pitched. Throwing hard.
Full count with 2 on, 1 out. 5 runs across for the Tigers. And Gibson sprays one down the left field line. That's going to drop in for a hit. And 2 more Tiger runs are going to score, and they make it 10-3. Cam Gibson with a shot the other way down the left field line picks up a couple of RBIs.
You know what? I'm not sure. We'd have to go back and maybe see a couple of pitches ago. But it's almost like he changed his stance a little bit the longer that count went, and the way Parsons was pitching him away. That last pitch that he hit to left field kind of closed his stance up some. Make sure he had the outer third covered. Earlier in the at bat, he had an open stance. Pretty sharp.
This is Troy Montgomery, the 10th Tiger to hit in the 7th inning.
Dave. That's why I don't understand why those third base coaches put themselves in harm's way that close to home plate. Steve Park was only about 45 feet away on that line drive that whistled by him.
And as the pitch comes to the plate, he looks over his right shoulder to try to get a beat on the baseball in case it comes his way again. One ball, 2 strikes, all Detroit. And a swing and a miss. Montgomery didn't get it. Parsons gets a strikeout, 2 away. And Daniel Pinheiro is going to hit again. He's been on base 3 times, 2 singles, 2 runs, and a walk. Late swing and foul to the screen. Even count. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, it's a heavy sinker. Parsons is throwing 93. That one missed a little low, but it is really moving down.
Let's see what he does with a 2-1 pitch. And it's 2-2. Parsons pitched in 26 games at Mississippi last year, went 3-3 there. 4 games at Gwinnett with a high ERA. One would think he'd be ticketed for AAA in 2018. And a full count. Just joining us, Anibal Sanchez started the game for the Braves today. Pitched real well. Gave up 3 runs on the last pitch he threw. A bases clearing double by James McCann that tied the game 3 apiece. Freddie Freeman had a good day at the plate. Double, homer, and has scored a couple of runs. And an atom ball to third off the bat of Pinheiro ends the top of the 7th. Time to stretch. A big inning for Detroit. They lead by 7.
Time for the 7th inning stretch.
Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. SunTrust. Confidence starts here. And by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Home 7th coming up. It's 10-3, and a name fraught with danger takes the mound for the Tigers. It's relief pitcher Buck Farmer, whose given name is George Rooney Farmer.
Now batting, number 18.
So far, so good for him this spring. He's not allowed a run in 9 innings. Bunch of strikeouts, a couple of walks. Big, strong right-hander.
Born in Conyers, Georgia, is the 27-year-old righty. Out of Georgia Tech. Lane Adams will hit for Atlanta to start the 7th inning. And Lane takes a strike. It's 2-1.
Both sides bringing some arms out of the bullpen that are bringing it. Green and Farmer for the Tigers.
Main batting .234 this spring. Strikeout's been a big problem for him here in Central Florida. This one's lifted towards center. And Lane Adams will be Farmer's first out.
Now batting number 11,
So the National League East, Washington certainly didn't stand pat. They've added a couple of players to kind of enhance their first place standing. Will it be enough to hold off the Mets, who have added some players as well, but the much improved Phillies too?
I think the East is going to be much more competitive this year than last, with the exception of the Marlins, who are obviously starting over again in South Florida. If the Mets pitch like they're capable of pitching, I think they have a chance to give anybody a lot of trouble. The big question in Washington is, number one, can they get out of the first round of the playoffs if they make it? They haven't done that yet. And will this be the final go-round for Bryce Harper? He's a free agent, part of that gigantic free agent class that'll be in the offing after the 2018 season.
And they have a new manager, and the guy who's never managed in the big leagues, and Dave Martinez.
And if I remember correctly, this may surprise you, Don Mattingly is the longest tenured manager in the National League East.
Wow. Well, how about a couple of guys who got fired who made the playoffs last year, managers?
The head scratcher for me was Dusty Baker.
Dusty Baker.
I thought
Good
that
grief.
last year might have been, and he's had some great seasons as a big league manager. I thought last year might have been his finest hour, losing Eaton, losing Bryce Harper for a while. And yes, the East was down this year, but they were one game away from knocking off the defending world champions in the playoffs, and had Max Scherzer coming out of the bullpen in the final game of that series in the playoffs, and the Cubs got to Scherzer, and that was that.
Joe Girardi. Yankees got to the postseason. That wasn't good enough. Damn.
No such luck. Ender pops out. And we'll see that new Yankee manager, Aaron Boone, who has kind of become a manager the old-fashioned ways. Come out of the broadcast booth and puts on the pinstripes.
Right.
I mean,
And just so everybody knows, I'm not taking any phone calls.
Okay. Well, Boone had a funny line the other day after he took the job, and Giancarlo Stanton turned down the potential deals to San Francisco and St. Louis, which was his contractual right. Brian Cashman gave Aaron Boone a phone call and said, hey, I think I got a chance at Stanton. And Boone put the phone down and said, gee, pretty good first day on the job. Oh, we get Giancarlo Stanton to join Judge and Sanchez and those guys.
Yeah, it's a formidable lineup for sure.
We'll see the Yankees not only here in the spring, but during the regular season as well. The Braves will be in New York at New Yankee Stadium over the 4th of July as Ronnie Santana rolls one sharply to first. And the Farmer gets the Braves 1, 2, and 3. Tigers have retired 8 straight Atlanta hitters, and we're off to inning number 8. Time for the top of the 8th inning. All Tigers after a 7-run 7th inning. We're pleased to be joined by two-time Gold Glove Award-winning outfielder for the Braves, Ender Inciarte, who last year, Joe, had another magnificent season.
You know, Ender, when I'm looking at these numbers, as cool as a Gold Glove is, to reach 200 hits like you did, if you had to pick one or the other, it'd be kind of hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm always going to pick the two of those. I mean, it's great to do it. I felt good last year. The whole year I was happier with the way I was consistent the whole year. And, I mean, getting 200 hits is something big for me, and I hope I can do it again. And, of course, you guys know how much pride I take when I'm playing defense, and I'm going to try my best to keep getting those awards.
Yeah, do you have a bigger mantle at your home now for all those Gold Gloves you're starting to pile up? It's kind of nice, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's really nice. I mean, being there in New York and getting the recognition for defense and everything like that. I mean, I went with my entire family, and it's big, and I was really happy to do it, and hopefully I get to do it every year.
We're hearing more and more, Ender, about defensive analytics and about how you are very receptive, even as a two-time Gold Glove winner, to anything that might help you with positioning or whatever it might be. Talk about that a little bit.
You know, I think whatever advice they're trying to give me, it's to help me. I know they're trying to help me. Everybody here is on the same page. We're trying to win games, and I know even last year I could be in better position to get to some balls, and we have really smart people that are trying to help us be in a better position to get to a lot of balls that we couldn't catch last year. So I take all the information they can give me to get better, and hopefully I'm going to be able to help the pitchers and to help the team to win more games.
Seems like there's a different feeling around the club this year. There's been some rebuilding going on here for an extended period of time. You've been a part of that, obviously. What's the mood in the clubhouse this year compared to 2017 in spring training?
It's very exciting. It's very positive. Everybody's on the same page. To be honest, we are all ready to start the season. We want to start playing in Santos Park, and I know everybody is really happy with the staff we have, with how we've been playing, and hopefully we're going to be able to show it in the season. But it's a total different atmosphere, and everybody is really excited this year.
You've become one of the fan favorites in Atlanta because of your all-around play, but also because you're accessible. You're not a guy that kind of dodges autographs. You talk to kids and things like that. Is that something that was taught to you when you were coming up from Venezuela, about how to interact with the fans too? Yeah,
my dad always encouraged me to be like that. To young kids especially, I know they really appreciate that, and when you get to treat them, when you give them a special treatment, they're gonna appreciate it forever, and they're gonna pass it along. You know, I remember in winter ball one day I was asking for a baseball to a guy, and he gave me the baseball, and he told me, "Hey, remember to treat the kids the same way I'm treating you when you're older."
Wow.
So I mean, I kept that in my mind. I try to be the best I can with the fans. Of course, sometimes you got stuff to do and you can stop or whatever, but I try my best to give them a good time.
Ender, we have not seen Ronald Acuna. You got a chance to play alongside him in some of these spring training games. As a Gold Glove winning outfielder, give us your scouting report on Ronald Acuna.
He's really special, man. He's something I've never seen before. I mean, the way he plays defense, I liked it, not only because I know he's a good defender, but the way he tried to get to balls to not let the runner get the next base. And I told him right away, that's the way you gotta do it. You gotta get even those balls in the line. You gotta get it and try to throw it quick to second base so that you don't let them take the next back. And he's very accessible. He let me talk to him all the time, and I mean, he's all around. He's so great. I've told my friends and from other teams, like, he's something I've never seen before. I mean, hopefully he's gonna be here soon. He's gonna be able to help us win a lot of championships, but for sure he's the real thing.
Are you healthy? Feel ready to go?
I feel very healthy. I'm happy and can't wait to start rolling.
Well, let's play tomorrow.
Let's get out of Orlando.
Let's get the Phillies here and let's get going.
Yes, sir. I mean, everybody's here to move to SunTrust Park already.
Ender, as always, thanks so much, and appreciate your time. Good luck in 2018, and how about 202 hits this year? What do you think?
I think we could try more. I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna expect 200 or 201. I'm just gonna try to go the best that I can every single day. That should be my approach this year, to be the best I can every day.
Well, good luck, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
The great Ender Inciarte. Up and away to Joey Morgan.
Sam Freeman looks good. The ball's coming out of his hand nicely, throwing hard. What an asset he was. Who didn't even start the season with the ball club, called up from Gwinnett and was in 58 games, 2.55 ERA.
He thought that was a strike, but didn't get the call. It's 3-0. Nice to have two lefties like A.J. Minter and Sam Freeman working in a big league bullpen with all the left-handed thunder the Braves have to face in the National League East on a consistent basis.
Oh, nice. Big arm action, big leg kick, and then a changeup. Beautiful. You know, it's such a treat when you get this guy's been in the big leagues a couple of years with different teams, so he was no stranger to it. But when you kind of have a guy called up from AAA with no big fanfare and do what he did, my goodness, that's a bonus.
And he backed up the off-speed pitch with another beauty and gets out of the 8th inning. Braves are coming up down 7. The 2018 Braves promotional schedule is out, and with great events, ticket packs and giveaways all year long, like the Ender Inciarte Gold Glove bobblehead, the Ozzie Calrissian Star Wars bobblehead. We have 2 Chipper Jones Hall of Fame giveaways and a whole lot more. Go to Braves.com/promotions for a full list of events and giveaways throughout the upcoming 2018 season.
This is Joe Jimenez. Not quite the numbers of Buck Farmer this spring.
Rifled down the left field line by Kazmar, who gets back to the plate down the strike. Again to the left side. Jasper will be out number 1. Braves and Yankees here in Champion Stadium tomorrow. Fun matchup on the mound. Julio Teheran with a 4-0 spring record, a sub-1 ERA, will face Luis Severino of the Yankees. We'll get our first look at Julio, who, as you said, has been working on his slider. See if it's biting. Well, I guess will be his last spring training start.
Just a tune-up.
This is Cade Civic out of LSU, and he's off stride there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
We were talking to Kurt Suzuki between innings before we did the interview with him, and he was talking about Civic and how he loves this guy. 6 foot, 235.
And he's a guy the Tigers ought to know well. The Braves got him from Detroit for Eric Ibar. That was in August of 2016. Go. Yes, he did. Cade had a good year last year. Hit 5 homers, drove in 36 runs between Mississippi and Gwinnett. All of a sudden, the Braves, who you might recall a year and a half ago, were thought to be very thin at the catching position. They've got Flowers and Suzuki at the major league level. They've got Jackson and Civic climbing through the system. So that's turned around nicely as Ezekiel Carrera gets a chance to hit. He's got Carrera this spring, another former Toronto Blue Jay, a man that Alex Anthopoulos knows very well, and a man that has an outside shot at the 25-man roster as an extra player.
It's like Brian Snitker said before the game today, with the injury to Johan Camargo, and because they don't need a 5th starter for a while, he said it's almost like we're just going to bring all the extra men, all the extra position players to Atlanta and sort it out from there. So those jobs are still open.
0-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Jimenez pitched an impressive 8th inning, a couple of strikeouts, and we head to inning number 9.
The Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
10-3 Tigers. We head to the 9th inning. Evan Phillips, promising young right-handed pitcher, is on the mound for the Bravos. 6'2", 215 pounds.
You never know when you can have an opportunity to impress somebody or leave them with a lasting impression. And so these innings for guys that are brought over from the minor league camp may not be household names, but all of a sudden you have a good inning and the manager and the pitching coach remember.
So the first man he'll face is Nico Goodrum. Who is 0 for 3. Goodrum didn't get the high fastball. It's 0-2. Phillips out of University of North Carolina, Wilmington.
Pretty good.
Throwing hard, mid-90s, but missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just joining us, the storyline of the day today was Anibal Sanchez, who started for Atlanta. Gave up 3 runs over his 5 innings, but had real good command, real good touch with his off-speed stuff. And that one's hit a mile high, deep right center field, and that one is off the light tower. Nico Goodrum hits a solo home run out by our TV trucks. And the Tigers take an 11-3 lead.
Well, it took him about 4 or 5 pitches, but I think he got his timing down on that 94-mile-an-hour gas. That was loud.
So 16 hits for the Tigers today and an 11-3 lead.
The highlight of today, like you said, take away from today's game is going to be Anibal Sanchez and what he was able to do. And as we heard from him, healthy, feeling 100%, just needed to get in some games. The game he pitched in last Sunday was the first time he'd pitched in a long time after getting released by the Twins, so he's got some conditioning work to do.
But how impressive is that, not having pitched, but to have his touch pitches so effective, not just the fastball. I mean, real good work for a Braves team that is looking for an answer to that 5th starter spot with Luis Gohara still on the shelf and making progress and making his way back. But he's got to go through, as Brian Snitker said, spring training all over again. So he'll be ready. Hitter for the Tigers is A.J. Simcox, number 89. Right off. He's hitting, still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fly ball to right. And Simcox is retired. There's the first out of the 9th inning.
One of the things you can do to impress someone if you want, if you're trying, and it's not just because this guy's got a good arm and throws hard, Phillips, but pitching to contact. If it becomes readily apparent if you're behind in the count all the time that you're trying to avoid contact sometimes. And the pitching coach and the manager would much rather see a guy who's throwing strikes and getting outs than not behind in the count all the time.
Here's Cam Gibson, son of Kirk. 2-run double in that big 7-run 7th for the Tigers.
See that open stance again early in the count. Who reminds me of that stance is Robin Ventura. What a good hitter he was. Kind of had that open stance with his knees bent.
On 1 pitch. What if his dad got mad at him? He said, wait a minute, you're going to take Robin Ventura's stance and not mine? What's up with that?
Well, let's see if he closes his stance now behind in the count. And he does.
1-2.
Interesting approach. You're trying to guard the plate, maybe take it the other way.
Don't you love to see young players make an adjustment like that? I mean, we talk about it a lot during regular season play when you've got a soft tossing guy there. Why don't guys move up in the box? You don't see those subtle adjustments too often. There it is, fouling off pitch after pitch. Got that one covered to stay alive. Still 1-2.
If you're the pitcher and the catcher, you should notice that maybe there's a change there and that he's thinking more middle of the plate away. And come in.
Let's see what Civic and Phillips have in mind with Cam Gibson. He's had a long at bat. Now they're going to try in. But it was downstairs and inside. 2-2.
Tried.
High fly ball to right. That ball's carrying to the track, and Gibson just missed a towering home run.
Now batting in the 91, Troy Montgomery.
2 outs.
They tried to come in and missed. But this one tailed over the middle of the plate. They put a good charge in it, but just not quite enough. Good looking swing though.
So Troy Montgomery gets a chance to hit again. He struck out back in the Tigers' 7th. And a base hit. 17 Tiger hits today.
Now batting the
Tigers have the Phillies and Braves left on the spring schedule.
Yeah, Atlanta's last game down here will be Sunday over in Lakeland, and the team will actually fly out of the Lakeland airport to come home.
Michael Fulmer and Mike Fultonevich will battle in a battle of the mics for the final spring tilt. That's the one down here in Central Florida. The Braves and Yankees will get together on Monday at SunTrust Park. Tuesday, the Braves will have a game against their future stars. That'll be fun. Wednesday, I guess, a workout day. Then Thursday, we tee it up for real with the Phillies. Swing and a miss by Pinero. Even count. And we will see the Phillies a lot in the first month of the year. 3 different series with Philadelphia in March and April.
Be interesting to see if where Jake Arrieta slides into the rotation. And he's getting a late start, so I don't know what kind of pitching condition he's in.
To third, but foul. And 2-2. And if Jake Arrieta pitches for the Phillies like he did for the Cubs a couple of years ago, that good young Philly staff is going to be awfully tough. You know they can hit, especially in their ballpark. So Phillies might be a dark horse team in the National League East in 2018. With their new manager, Gabe Kapler, the pitch. Again to third. Long toss across. And Evan Phillips takes care of the Tigers in the 9th, who got a solo home run from Nico Goodrum. You for our Braves spring training television schedule. We will be with you tomorrow for the Braves and Yankees. Our friends at Fox Sports Detroit will be broadcasting the Braves and Tigers on Sunday. Rod Allen and Mario Mpemba will have the play-by-play. Joe and I will be with you at SunTrust Park for the first time on Monday night. As we said, the Future Stars game on Tuesday night, then the Phillies on opening day on Thursday.
This is Lewis Coleman, side armor. Good numbers last year in his stops in the minor leagues.
He's pitched in the big leagues before with the Royals and the Dodgers. Detroit signed a Coleman, I should say, signed a minor league deal with Detroit in late February. They'll face Xavier Avery to lead off the Atlanta 9th. There for Avery, 3 balls and a strike. He was taking all the way. Crowd today 6,103 on a beautiful Friday afternoon. I see a big crowd here tomorrow with all the Yankee fans making their way over from Tampa.
It'll be interesting to see what players come over. I know in the old days of the Yankees, the George Steinbrenner, it was rare that you actually saw a representative team come over as major league players.
So we'll find out when you find out tomorrow at 1 o'clock. As Charlie Culberson gets another chance to swing the bat. He flied out in his first appearance back in inning number 6. And that's in for a strike. Charlie had a good cut but fouled it back. It's 0-2.
Pretty good deal for Charlie. If you're going to get traded home. Born in Rome, lives in Marietta.
Off the pitcher's foot, and that sounded solid.
Look like a shin burger.
Now batting, number 96, Luis Rondon.
Under the glove. Foul.
Luis Rondon, I think, is the hitter. To first. Fair ball out there. Everybody else safe. So Rondon moves the runners up to second and third with Lane Adams another chance.
You see the stance of Lane Adams. It's different from last year. If you were with us a couple of nights ago, I was talking about how he went to a guy who worked with Justin Turner and others, and you can almost see a similarity there to Justin Turner's stance with the Dodgers. Hands real low and in front of him. Turner employs a big high leg kick, higher than Lane, but after the year Lane had last year, I said a couple of nights ago, I don't know why you would toy with it. He has not had a bang-up spring training after it looked like he would come to camp as pretty much a lock for one of the backup spots in the outfield.
One ball, 2 strikes. Hit off the high heat. One of the things the Braves are trying to figure out is how to comprise their bench. There's talk of maybe carrying 6 outfielders or perhaps 3 catchers going into regular season play. Obviously for Adams, the 6 outfield situation would be of great benefit. He's forced a full count from Lewis Coleman. And he couldn't check his swing. Adams strikes out. Again, that's been a big issue for him. There's a lack of consistent contact.
One of the advantages for Danny Santana making the club as a non-roster invitee was that he can play the infield or the outfield, and he can play just about anywhere on the infield. Did a good job for the Braves off the bench last year and was a solid pinch hitter.
Tyler Neslony is Braves' final hope in the 9th inning. Little roller out to second, and that is going to do it. The Detroit Tigers beat the Braves 11-3. Atlanta's offense mustered just 4 hits. But the good news is Joe Anibal Sanchez started, looked very good, and I would assume did nothing but help his chances to crack the 25-man roster.
You would have to think so. Boy, he was sharp today with his off-speed stuff. He was pitching and fun to watch.
Speaking of fun to watch, look forward to the Braves and Yankees here tomorrow. Look forward to joining you at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Julio Teheran and Luis Severino will get the pitching assignment. For Joe, I'm Chip and our great crew. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.